Hey guys, welcome to another video on fractions. Today we'll be taking a look at division. So in this series I have already talked about addition, subtraction, multiplication. So today we'll take a look at division. If you have not checked out these three parts, I will leave the link to these in the description below so you guys can check it out. So we'll start off taking a look at how we divide two fractions. So the first and the easiest one we'll do is, what if you have 1 divided by 1/3? Something like this, where you just have a, a whole number and you want to divide it by a fraction. So in this case, the way we write this is 1 divided by 1/3. So whatever you write first here in the problem becomes the numerator. And this, the second one, becomes the denominator. So what you do is you take the 1, write it as it is, you multiply it by 3 by 1. So what I have done here is basically I have flipped the denominator, right? So as you can see, now 1/3 I've written it as 3 by 1. So now it's just a process of multiplication, like 1 times 3 divided by 1, which is 3. Now an interesting case here is, what if you had 1/3 divided by 1? In this case, you would again, similar to the previous problem, write 1/3 in the numerator because you have that first in the problem and divide it by 1. So what happens in this case is, when you have something like this, you have to multiply this here, which is the denominator, with the 3. So something like this. So that becomes 1 by 3. Let's take a look at another example of the same sort so that we understand more clearly what's going on. Let me write this as 3, third example. Suppose you had 4 by 7. You want to divide it by, let's say, 2. So how would you write this? 4 by 7 is the first part of the problem. So that would become the numerator, 4 by 7. Now you divide it by the second part, which is 2. This forms the denominator. So now what we would write this as is 4 divided by 7. Now you take the denominator here, which is 2, and you multiply it by 7. So 4 divided by 14, which is, you can divide both by 2. This gives you 2 and this 7. 2 by 7. So observe carefully what I've done here. In the numerator, we have 4 by 7. Let me use a red color to show what's going on. So 4 we retain as the numerator. 7 is pushed to the denominator here. So what you finally get is something like this, where you have 7 times 2 because you push the 7 down into the denominator. So once you have that, it's nothing but 4 divided by 7 times 2 is just a multiplication. So you get the final result as 2 by 7. What if you had two fractions, right? So let me use white. So this is type 2, where you have two fractions. Instead of, in this case, we had one whole number and one fraction. What if you had two fractions itself, right? So let's see one example of that. Suppose you had 3 divided by 11, which is a fraction. You want to divide that to by 5. So in this case, what would you do? As usual, you write the first part of the problem as your numerator, which is 3 divided by 11, and the second part of the problem as your denominator, which is 2 divided by 5. So what would you do? You write 3 by 11 and you multiply it by, you flip this now. 2 by 5, you have to flip it. What do I mean? So you write it as 5 by 2. And now it's the same case. You just multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators. 3 times 5 is 15. 11 times 2 is 22. So let's go over this again, what we did. So we wrote down 3 by 11 as the numerator, 2 by 5 as the denominator. And once we write this down, so you have 3 by 11, you just write it as it is, as a fraction. Now you multiply it by the reciprocal, as they call it. Reciprocal is nothing but flipping. So the reciprocal of 2 by 5, which is 5 by 2, right? So once you have this sorted out, you simply multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators to get this answer. Let's see another example and try to understand this more clearly. Let me choose white again. Okay. So example 2 in type 2. Now we want to see, let's say we have 3 by 7 divided by 1 by 2. Let's keep it simple because I just want to illustrate the concepts more than solving any problem. So since you have 3 by 7 first, let's write that down as the numerator. And we have 1 by 2 that follows 3 by 7. So that would become the denominator. Now what happens? 3 by 7, you write it down first as it is, times the reciprocal of the denominator, which is 2 by 1. Now you just do 3 times 2 and 7 times 1. 3 times 2 is 6, 7 times 1 is 7. So the final answer is 6 by 7. That's your fraction. So it's really simple, guys. As you practice more and more, you'll understand. Just remember that when you have something like this, you always need to multiply the numerator by the reciprocal of the denominator. So if you remember this, you will be good. It's really simple. If you practice more, you'll be able to get a good grip of this concept. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel for more such videos. I'm thinking of adding another video in this fraction series. I just wanted to cover mixed fractions and also how you simplify fractions. So watch out for that video. And if you liked it, share it with your friends. Thank you guys. Bye.